What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and today I want to talk about something pretty interesting. At least I find it pretty interesting, and I hope that you will as well. I want to tell you guys about 10 different types of coffee drinking prisoners. And I know you're probably hearing this thinking, Joe, what? 10 different types of coffee drinking prisoners? You mean to tell me there's 10? Actually, I don't know where I was going with that thought. But the fact of the matter is this. You know, when you think about commissary while locked up, if you think about a top 5 list, the top 5 prison commissary items that prisoners can purchase for themselves, guaranteed to be in that list of top 5 items is definitely going to be coffee. In some cases, it could even be the #1 fan favorite prisoner hot commodity item that they can purchase. And there's a lot of different reasons why coffee is in the top 5, or in some cases could even be the top item. 1, a single bag of coffee in prison costs anywhere between like $2.50 a bag, upwards of $5+. That's a lot of money in one single commissary item that can easily be transported around. I mean, think about it. If you've got 10 bags of coffee that could easily be stuffed down your pants or inside of your shirt, prisoners could easily transport $25, $30, upwards of $50 at a time. But aside from the monetary value of coffee in prison, that's only one part of why coffee is so valuable. The most important reason, far beyond that monetary explanation, is the fact that coffee, of course, is a stimulant. The caffeine is some sort of, I think it's actually addictive. But the stimulant of coffee, that is so important to prisoners for so many different reasons. Some guys might just drink coffee when they wake up in the morning. It helps them get awake, ready and prepared to face whatever the prison day is going to bring them, which is something that, you know, is kind of ironic to think about. It's almost like a catch-22. Why would you want to wake up to deal with the prison day at all? You know, most guys, they're going to want to sleep their time away. In fact, I've said this before and I will say it again. You know, some guys, they will try to sleep at least half of the day if possible, if they're allowed to do so. Because if you're sleeping 12+ hours a day, you're only doing half of your time. But regardless, coffee is a stimulant. Coffee is something that pumps and jacks guys up and gets them prepared, again, for whatever. Whether it's just to wake up in the morning time or whether it's to get prepared and jacked up and skied up and ready for a fight. You ever drank coffee before you're about to get to rumbling? You're going to be all sorts of, come on, I don't care who you Tyson. And maybe there's even the possibility that that other guy, no matter how big he is, sees you after drinking 5 or 6 cups of coffee ready to go, shaking and looking all deranged and stuff. He might not even want no parts of you. Man, you crazy. You wasn't this crazy 10 minutes ago. What happened? Coffee did that to you. Coffee. All right, well, come in this bathroom, because now that I know I'm ready to beat you up. Then coffee gonna save you in here. And there is a plethora of different reasons why this stimulant coffee is so important to guys while serving time. And in this video, I want to tell you about 10 different types of coffee drinking prisoners. What were you about to say?
I can see the comments now. You said there's a plethora.
Is that not the right way to use that word?
That's not the right way. You said it wrong. I'm not laughing.
Hold on, what's the other word? There's a placenta.
What placenta?
There's a placenta of reasons why. Is that the right word?
Placenta?
No?
No.
You know what? Forget it. There's a lot of different reasons why guys will drink coffee in prison. And in this video, I want to tell you about 10 different types of coffee drinking prisoners. So let's go ahead and get into this first type of coffee drinking prisoner. And what I want to refer to this guy as is the recreational user. Your recreational user is going to be your guy who just drinks coffee recreationally. You know, this actually reminds me of something kind of crazy. I remember a long time ago, I met this guy that was smoking crack. And he told me, he was like, yeah, Joe, I do smoke crack, but I only do so recreationally. You know, I'm not sure there's a distinction between smoking crack and recreational use. If you smoke crack, you're a crackhead. There ain't no recreational about it. And maybe somehow that ties into this recreational coffee drinker. I'm not exactly sure. But this recreational coffee drinking prisoner, this guy can just drink coffee whenever he chooses to do so, whenever he wants. Coffee is something this guy's not really worried about at all. And neither is making commissary, being able to go to the store. Because in most cases, your recreational user, he's gonna be able to go to commissary quite frequently and quite comfortably. Maybe he's got mommy and daddy out there taking care of him, or maybe some sort of prison pen pal who weighs 450. It doesn't matter. This guy, he's filling out a bubble sheet every single week. And on that bubble sheet, along with any type of zoom zooms and wham whams he might want, will also be some coffee as well. Your recreational user could also fit the mold of somebody who is in what is referred to as bid mode, meaning this guy's not concerned about anything else except what he's doing in prison on a day-to-day basis. Kicking it with his buddies, watching TV, sports, movies, certain programs that all prisoners are tuning into just so they can talk about the very next day. Your recreational user in most cases is going to be doing his time with relative ease. And one thing that's going to help him to be able to do his time with relative ease is being able to prepare for himself a cup of mud anytime that he chooses to do so. But I also have to throw this into the mix as well. And this prisoner could be the complete opposite of that guy who's making commissary every single week. Because you see, a recreational user could also be somebody who has no money at all. In fact, the only thing that they might have is a coffee cup. A cup that they take with them, being able to walk around with, asking the next guy, most of the time being that comfortable prisoner who's in bid mode going to the store every single week, that infamous question that is so oftentimes asked while serving time. And I'm not talking about, what are you in for? I'm talking about, hey, you got a cup of coffee? Moving on to our second type of coffee drinking prisoner. This one's sort of an oxymoron because this guy's referred to as the guy who doesn't drink coffee at all. Joe, how does a guy who doesn't drink coffee at all make the list in a video of 10 different types of coffee drinking prisoners? Well, this guy is definitely important to mention. The type of prisoner who doesn't drink coffee at all, this guy is like completely opposed to coffee. Man, I don't be drinking me no coffee. Coffee got caffeine in it. That's an addictive substance. I don't be messing with that. I ain't got no addictions. I ain't no fiend. For whatever reason, you're gonna have these certain types of prisoners. Oftentimes, it's gonna be your D-boys, which are referred to as your dope boys. I like to refer to them as douchebags, who run around acting like they're holier than thou because what they did out in the free world was sell the addictive substance. And while locked up, coffee is oftentimes referred to as crack in a cup. These guys, for whatever reason, believe that the only people who drink coffee while locked up are some straight up fiends, some junkies. Man, you messing with that coffee? Hey, let me find out you messing with coffee. Dude, you on the coffee. You on that crack in a cup? I ain't kicking it with you no more. I ain't rocking with you. You supposed to be a D-boy. Douchebags. Now, something else to throw into about the guys that don't drink coffee at all. These guys, again, these are your hustlers. These are your Rick Rosses of the prisoners. Even though I don't think regardless, just because these guys don't drink the coffee, don't ever think for a second that they won't have access to it. You looking for some coffee? I couldn't help but notice you was walking around with your little rig in your hand or your coffee cup. You looking for some coffee? What, you ain't got no coffee? I got some coffee balls for sale. I got some shots of coffee for sale. You trying to buy some coffee? In a lot of cases, these guys will legitimately be walking around trying to sell coffee. They could be on the rec yard with bags in their pocket, oftentimes referred to as shots. One single cup of coffee, maybe they've even thrown some type of a sweet and low into the bag just to sort of sweeten the deal. God, that was cringe. But I'm being absolutely serious. These guys who don't drink coffee at all and are so opposed to it, thinking it's such an addictive substance. You on that caffeine, boy. Hey, you messing with that caffeine. You got turned out behind that coffee. They will, in a lot of cases, have that coffee on deck, those coffee balls for sale. And they will most certainly be willing to sell you a shot if you ain't got one. Hey, you ain't got no money? Don't worry about it. You ain't got no money. You can't afford no shot. Hey, just do me a favor. Hey, sweep them out my living space. Sweep them out my cell right here. I'll give you a shot of coffee for that. Number 3 on this list is your full-blown junkie. Now, this guy drinks coffee compulsively while locked up. This guy's drinking at least 10 plus cups of coffee a day. Watching your full-blown coffee junkie prisoners walking around is like watching a guy walking around having a seizure all day long. Woo! Go, that's some good mud right there. That's some good mud. Some guys just ain't got nothing better to do but drink coffee. Some guys, they need that. Their tolerance level has been built to an excessive amount of caffeine that they need on a daily basis. Your full-blown junkie prisoners definitely have an addictive personality. This is all they can get their hands on. Some caffeine, some crack in a cup. And best believe, they're going to be drinking that non-stop. They're going to be brushing their teeth with coffee. They're going to be dunking their sweat meat sandwich in it like an Oreo cookie. Woo, go! I know it sounds crazy, but you're going to see it. You definitely are going to see all of these types of prisoners while locked up, and this all pertains to coffee. How crazy is this to even think about? Now, make no mistake of it. Your full-blown junkie prisoner, he doesn't have to be the broke guy. He doesn't have to be a guy who's not going to commissary. And in some cases, maybe even in a lot of them, you're going to see guys who fit this description to a T who go to the store every single week. And when they go, you're going to notice that they come back with not just one bag of coffee, not just two, but maybe they come back with something like 5 bags of coffee. Let's do the math on this real quick. 5 times $3.50, let's just say that's how much these things cost. You're talking like almost $20 a week just in coffee. Boy, you got you a habit. You spending $20 a week on coffee? You doing 100% of your time. You ain't sleeping at all. Matter of fact, I ain't seen you go to sleep in the last week. Actually makes a lot of sense when you're getting 5 bags of coffee a week. And you know, there could be some cases where times get kind of tough for these guys. Maybe they've got to make a choice. Maybe it's 5 bags of coffee, or I get that toothpaste and that soap that I really need. I'm gonna go ahead and get that coffee. I ain't gonna go without it. 5 bags. Hey, they called the store yet? Is it time to go to commissary yet? Making the list at number 4 is your too fancy for this prison stuff, coffee drinking type of prisoner. That's almost like a tongue twister right there. You're too fancy for this prison stuff type of coffee drinking prisoner. This is gonna be the guy that when he does drink his coffee, and best believe he'd definitely be drinking some coffee. But when doing so, he's gonna be drinking the most luxurious cup of coffee. He ain't just gonna be having him some instant coffee and some lukewarm water in that cup with some little coffee granules floating around in that thing still, because you ain't even got hot enough water to dissolve that instant cup. This guy's also gonna be mixing in that cup some hot chocolate, some cocoa mix, maybe he's even got some marshmallows. He might be putting an atomic fireball in that. This guy is drinking Starbucks in prison anytime he preparing himself a prison cup of coffee. I'm too fancy for this prison stuff at all. Prison, it is beneath me. It reminds me of Wall Street.
Man, you know that coffee ain't hot.
The aroma. The different, what are those things called that they talk about when you go to a wine tasting? The notes. Oh, the notes of the hot cocoa mixed with the marshmallow. Can you have a cup of coffee? I'm sorry, this is my last cup. God, can you help me, God? I don't belong in prison, God. I've been trying to tell everybody, including the judge, God. You're too fancy for this prison stuff type of coffee drinking prisoner is going to be a guy that's absolutely despised by most all of the prisoners. In some cases, this guy will also be paying for protection as well, because he's going to be walking around with his nose stuffed so far up his own ass. And don't no other prisoners really be taking too fancy to that type of stuff at all. You too good for prison. What you even in here for? What? You got those type of charges? Hey boy, you better give me all your coffee. I'm taking everything from you. Too fancy for this. And you will most certainly have guys who feel like they are up and beyond the rest of the prisoner population. And these type of dudes could be any type of color, creed, prisoner at all. If you got you some money while locked up, if you've got mommy and daddy or your 450, 600-pound prison pen pal taking care of you, and you're able to afford these luxury prison condiments and commissary items, boy, M&M, you ain't got nothing on that bar right there. All them syllables in that joint right there. Prison commissary condiments and commissary items. I just completely said something totally different. But you're gonna definitely have these too fancy for this prison stuff type of coffee drinking prisoners. Number 5 on our list is probably one of my favorites. This is what I like to refer to as a one man and a cup. You know, like 2 chicks in a cup. Did that register right there? Because that one was strong. 2 chicks in a cup, you got one man in a cup. Type of coffee drinking prisoner. You're one man in a cup type of coffee drinking prisoner. This is gonna be that guy, and there's gonna be plenty of guys like this that you run across while serving time. This is gonna be the guy that anytime that you see him, he's gonna be walking around with that cup in his hand. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that he's walking around like asking people for cups. Hey, you got a cup of coffee? It's just one man in a cup. You got a cup of coffee? This doesn't necessarily mean this. However, don't get it twisted for a second. You will definitely have you some one man in a cup type of prison coffee drinking prisoners who walking around doing just that. But I want to refer to the better version of one man in a cup. And this is the guy that just walks around with his cup. He's chilling. He's having a good old time in prison. Hey, what's up, doo-doo? Hey, doo-doo ball. What's going on with you, bro? Hey, let's chop it up, man. Let's parlay. Hey, let's have us a little shindig and kick the bobo. I got my cup. You got your cup? Hey, let's make some crack in the cup, man, and chop it up. You're one man in a cup. He's just walking around looking for the conversation, looking for something to do. It could be the spades table, poker table, or just a good old war story conversation with his homeboy. He got his cup in hand. He's locked and loaded, ready to get into whatever the next part of his bid mode is. The next conversation, the next TV show, football game, or movie. Oh, there's a new Lifetime movie on? I got my cup. Hey, let me pull up a seat, man. Hey, what's this? 13 and pregnant. You trying to make a cup of coffee? I got mine, you got yours? Definitely trying to check this out. Oh, she is 13. I'll be damned if she's pregnant too. You're definitely going to see you some one man in a cup type of prisoners all the time. And again, these guys could have their own coffee. They're not walking around looking for you to give them coffee. They got their own. They're just waiting for the opportunity with cup in tow for them to be able to make them a cup of coffee and get into whatever's clever. Wow. Hey, you trying to get into whatever's clever while locked up? Whoa. I'm going to take my cup and I'm going to go elsewhere. Don't ever fall for the whatever's clever in prison. Don't do it. I learned the hard way. Number 6 making this list, we gotta just throw this in here. You got your coffee man type of coffee drinking prisoner. Now, I've told you about who Coffee Man was to me, but you know, no matter where you are, no matter where you're locked up, you're probably most certainly gonna have you a coffee man. Your coffee man type of coffee drinking prisoner is the guy who's gonna do whatever, whenever, whatever's clever for that cup of coffee. This guy is your full-blown junkie status, but this guy, he ain't got no coffee. And he knows he ain't got no coffee, and everybody else knows he ain't got none either. He's definitely gonna fit the criteria for that one man in a cup too, because he's always gonna have that cup in tow. Just looking, waiting, and planning to see where he can make that next cup of coffee come from. This guy's willing to do anything. He might clean your floor. This guy's gonna wash and fold your laundry. This guy's gonna make your bed. This guy will do your dishes with your Tupperware. He'll wash whatever you got, so long as you're gonna be willing to give him a cup of coffee in return. This guy will go days without eating. Hey, I got my breakfast tray for a cup of coffee. You got a cup of coffee? I'll give you my breakfast tray. Coffee man, I ain't seen you go to the chow hall in a month. When was the last time you ate anything? As funny as it may be, you know, it's kind of a damn shame to see guys get turned out that bad behind some coffee. Hey, Coffee Man! Hey, Coffee Man, I need you to try to jump over that fence for me. I just need something funny to watch. I'm gonna give you a cup of coffee. Oh, man, he almost made it. He lost his arm in the process, but he almost made it, though. Hey, I ain't do so well with the Coffee Man one. I really wanted to come strong with Coffee Man, and I kind of dropped the ball right there, but I'm gonna pick it up. We fumbled right there. But we recovered it, and we're going to recover it with number 7. Let's go ahead and move on to number 7, which I like to refer to as your experimental phase coffee drinking type of prisoner. Now, your experimental phase type of coffee drinking prisoner, there's a couple of different things that fall into this category. One is a guy who's coming up to you asking for coffee like, hey man, you got a cup of coffee, man? I got my cup right, man, I don't even be drinking coffee like that. But can I get a cup? I don't even be drinking coffee like that for real, man. You've legit asked me for a cup of coffee every single day for the last 5 years, yet you still are telling me that you don't even be drinking coffee like that. You do. You need to go get your own coffee. I've been hearing the same thing for 5 years. It's getting kind of old. That's one type of guy who's going to fall into this category. Now, your other type is going to be your fresh meat, fish, newbie type of prisoner. This guy's still going to be a little wet behind the ears. That is so stupid. I don't even know what that really means. Hey, you a little wet behind the ears, ain't you? What you mean? Hey, them fighting words right there, wet behind the ears. Your wet behind the ears, newbie, fresh meat, fish type of prisoner definitely falls into this experimental phase type of coffee drinking prisoner. Wow, that was a tongue twister right there. This is going to be the guy who's just starting to get locked up and wants to fit in. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to make it look like he's been doing this for a long time. Boy, you ain't but 18 years old. I know damn well it's your first time getting locked up. Your experimental phase type of coffee drinking prisoner, he's going to be just starting to get into the coffee, just starting to dabble with it. He's going to take that first sip of crack in a cup like, whoa, my God! Wow! Where has this been my whole life? I should have never been messing with coke. And with your experimental phase type of coffee drinking prisoners, this could go a number of different ways. For the fish, for the newbies, for the fresh meat type of guys. You know, they could fall into any of these other categories that we've already mentioned and will be continuing to mention in this video. Number 8, you are guaranteed to run across your muscle madness coffee drinker. Now, this guy could be your OG. This is the guy that's been working out for 40 plus years or however long he's been locked up. This guy looks like an action figure. This guy looks like he belongs on like Marvel superheroes somewhere. All this guy does is work out and potentially also drinks coffee. And what's crazy to mention about your muscle madness coffee drinking type of prisoner is not only does this guy drink his coffee in an effort to get pumped up for his 5th workout of the day. Woo! Prison workout, let's hit that weight pile! Not only is he drinking coffee to get pumped up for that 5th or 6th workout of the day, you will also see this guy drinking coffee out on the weight pile. Out there while bench pressing. He could have 300 pounds on a bar like this. That's some good coffee. That's some good coffee right there. And if that's not crazy enough, imagine this. You know, rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Not only is this guy going to be out there on that weight pile, he's also going to be out there on that weight pile with that cup of coffee. And forget rain, sleet, hail, or snow. This guy will be out there drinking that coffee when it's 100 plus degrees outside. Dude, you drinking you some hot crack in a cup. You ain't even put no ice in that. You crazy for real. I don't care about the fact that you can bench press a car. You drinking hot coffee? It's 100 degrees out here. That's crazy. You crazy. Number 9, it just wouldn't be right if we didn't mention your old head coffee drinking prisoners. These are your guys who were just, well, old heads in prison. They've been doing this for their entire life. This is their 7th time going to prison. They've got 7 different DOC numbers. These guys are your veterans of being in prison, and they've also not amounted to nothing in their life. Aside from that, you will definitely have your old head coffee drinking type of prisoners. And what these guys will remind you of in certain cases, actually in a lot of cases, you know, these guys will get up early in the morning, they'll be sitting there drinking their cup of coffee, kicking it, parlaying with the other old heads, gossiping like some women in a hair salon, sitting at the tables, probably watching the news. Hey, I know that dude right there. Hey, that's T-Bone from 87th Street. You remember him? 14 years ago, 3 different incarcerations ago, we was all locked up with T-Bone. T-Bone out there, he got caught for stealing some steaks. They getting ready to lock him up. Your old head coffee drinking type of prisoners will oftentimes remind you of like what it's like to walk into like a McDonald's or a Hardee's first thing on a Sunday morning. It could be like 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning. You walking into a McDonald's and Hardee's, it looks like you took a wrong turn. This is McDonald's, right? Why does this joint look like a retirement center? Did y'all escape? Oh, I'm calling the law right now. Y'all going back. You're most certainly going to have you some old head type of coffee drinking prisoners who like to do nothing more than watch the news, play them some pinochle, drinking coffee, chopping it up like they had a McDonald's or a Hardee's on a Sunday morning. Gossiping like some women in a hair salon all the while. The final type of coffee drinking prisoner to make this list is one that I felt like I had to throw into this. And I like to refer to this guy as the no business drinking coffee while locked up type of prisoner. Your no business drinking coffee while locked up type of prisoner is gonna be your guy that begs for every cup. Hey yo, hey, you got a cup of coffee? You got some mud over there? Hey, I see you go in your locker. Hey, while you down there in your locker, you give me a cup of coffee too? Cause I know that's what you get. I be watching you all the time. Your no business drinking coffee while locked up type of prisoner. This guy, he is annoying. He's one of the most worrisome, if that's even a real word, type of prisoners that you will ever deal with. This guy will lie, connive, and maybe even steal coffee, among other things. He's not just gonna be stealing coffee. If he's gonna be stealing, he's gonna be stealing anything he can get his hands on. Your shoes, your ramen soups, your icy white honey. He'll take whatever he can get. You're no business drinking coffee type prisoner. This guy will try to sell you some lakefront property in a state where there's no lakefront property. I don't remember how that analogy goes right there. But this guy, hey man, can I get a cup of coffee? I'll pay you back on store day. We going to the store on Tuesday. I'll pay you back. You ain't never made commissary since we've been in here. Never. So how you gonna tell me you gonna pay me back when we go to, you don't even got a job. You don't even got a prison job in here. Talking about you gonna pay me back. You better tell that to somebody else. This guy ain't got no business drinking coffee at all. And you know, it would be one thing if the guy was broke and he was like a coffee man. A coffee man, he knows he ain't got no money. He knows he ain't got no money and he's willing to do whatever to get it. He's gonna wash your dishes, wash your clothes, clean up your area or yourself. He's gonna work for that coffee. But you're no business drinking coffee while locked up type of person. He ain't got no do right in him whatsoever. All he wanna do is get for nothing. He want to get from you for nothing in return. I got you, Stickman. Hey, young blood, I got you. I got you just as soon as we go to the store. I just got some money in last week. Got some money from where? Would you get a settlement from 20 years ago? Because you ain't got nobody out there. Ain't nobody sending you no money. You got all sorts of types of prisoners while locked up who like to drink them some coffee. And in this video, I've tried to tell you about 10 different types of them. You know, if I've missed the mark at all in this video, if I've left any out, I've forgotten any, please comment down below and let me know what type of coffee drinking prisoners you may have run across or you might imagine exist that I didn't mention in this video. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever get locked up so you got to experience any or even become one yourself, any of these 10 types of coffee drinking prisoners, and make the most of every day.